Greetings everyone and welcome to the stream. I'm Sami Laakso from Snowdale Design, and today I'm during AwSHUX stream number 2 during Saturday. I'm again going to demo Lands of Galzyr with all of you, and you will be able to join the game as well, because it's I will show everything that I have in front of me, and we will be able to make decisions together in the game. So for those who do not know about Lands of Galzyr, it's an open world adventuring game where we are adventurers traveling and making quests and all kinds of exciting things in, well, as the name says, in Lands of Galzyr. And it's a story-based game with a save and load system where the next game will always continue from where the previous one left off. And I will explain all the rules and all other things as well, as we will soon see. So, and the game is going to be launched on Kickstarter or next summer hopefully. And this is the sneak peek of what's to come. Welcome to the stream, Dirk. Here we have, let's move the mouse away, don't need to see that. Here we have the game setup, or at least most of the things set up. We'll go through that as well. So here we have the game board. It has some cards that are placed there during setup. We have our adventure board here, which has our money, our skill marks. We'll get back to those in a moment. And we have the card library, which will have over 400 cards in the final game. We have some spare skill marks, some timer tokens, dice, custom the 6 dices, and some other cards I will explain just in a moment. So everything you see here goes without saying that it's in a prototype form. So some of the art, like for example the adventure board here, is quite finished, but some others, like the game board with all the sketches, is still a work in progress. So today we are playing as More. The game will come with 4 different adventures. So in addition to More, we have Keridai, then we have AwSHUX, and finally we have Bumir. And from these 4, on previous streams, we have already played as Keridai and Bumir. So today it's More's turn, and in tomorrow's stream we will play as AwSHUX. So look forward to that as well. So during setup, we will take all the cards that are in this library behind this global save slot. And most of those, or well, not most, but part, are these location cards that are placed here on the game board. Then we have some of these global status cards, which are placed next to the game board. One of them is always a month card. So in this example, we're playing in June, and it will show which side of the game board and the location cards we're using. So we're using summer side for June, obviously. And depending on the month during winter, the card will tell us that we will use the different side of both the game board and the cards. But those are not, I haven't finished up the illustrations, so we're sticking to summer in these demos during AwSHUX. In addition, we have this, in this case, Stronger Together card. We have 2 different cards depending on if we're playing cooperatively or competitively. Obviously with just one player we have to play cooperatively, but the game will support the player cards from 1 to 4, and with 2, 3 or 4 players you can choose to play either cooperatively or competitively. The goal of the game is to gather as much prestige as possible. So in this case we have our prestige token here. And we have a set number of rounds to get as much prestige as possible. if we were playing with competitively, we would play up to a certain number of prestige, so there's no set number of rounds, but rather with 4 players we would play up to 4 prestige, with 3 players up to 10, and with 2 players up to 12 prestige. And then we would play that round over, and the player with the most prestige would win the game. There are various ways to gain prestige, but mainly it's just doing things that get your name out there, make you noteworthy. We'll soon hopefully learn multiple ways to do that during the demo. After we have placed all of those over there, we also here we have what we call Untimed Effect. On this card, this blue box with the round clock over here. Usually the clock has a number on it, but in this case it has an X, and you can say that the X is dependent on the player count. So we're playing with 1 player, so the X is 14. In those cases, we always take 2 of these timer tokens. Just it doesn't matter which ones, just 2 identical ones. One of them is placed on the calendar as many spaces into the future as the number states. So in this case it's 2 weeks, and the other identical timer token is going to be placed here to cover up the number. Each round in the game is thematically 1 day, so after each round everyone has played their turns, we will move the day token on the calendar 1 space forward. And whenever the token reaches one of these timer tokens, we simply do whatever the timed effect tells us to do. In this example, it shows that we would have to take a scene number 200. We'll get to those scenes in just a moment. Basically, it's story which involves options, various outcomes, things like that, and some skill checks using the dice usually. And what's next? Well, the game will need you to use an online web page. So it's we call it a digital storybook because it's not quite an application, even though technically it is, but it's a storybook that we implemented in a digital way. So in that case, we can have some functionality in the storybook that would be otherwise impossible. So for example, you don't spoil yourself by accidentally reading something that you were not supposed to read. And other positive thing is that you will have to pay way less for the game because it doesn't come with a 500 to 1000 page storybook. So those are the reasons we decided to go with the digital storybook. So during the setup, you will all have to use the storybook already, and depending on the month card, you will have to tell the add storybook which month we're playing. So in this example, we are playing June, so we will simply pick June. The storybook will randomize the starting day for us. So in this case, it just shows that it's a Sunday. So I will correct these by placing them over here like that. Hello Snapdragon, and welcome to the stream. We'll learn a lot more about this digital storybook once we take our first scene. So I'll hide it for just a moment still. And after we have done that setup that concerns everyone, all players that are in the game will take their own save slot. So all the cards behind their own save divider in the library. And in this example, we are playing our very first game with more. So the slot has these 2 cards. You are instructed to do some what I would call housekeeping before your first game, where you set up the library and the save slots and build up the character board. So in that housekeeping, what we call a welcoming letter, in that you will place the needed cards in the save slots and in the library. So all players, or let's say all characters, have 2 cards in their initial save slot. They have their number 0 card, which is their special ability. So we are playing More, the Fruit Lizard, and his special ability is Audacious Bluff. With clever words, More can assure nearly anyone about anything. A prop or 2 makes it even easier. So More is quite a mouthful. He is quite a socialist, likes to socialize with everyone. So he has these are skill marks, so they are showing what he's good at and what kind of preparedness he has for various skill checks. So he has 2 here in the communication. So the effect of this Audacious Bluff is whenever we choose an option involving convincing or intimidating, we may discard this card, meaning that we return it to the library and use one effect of any item in our inventory. Currently we have no items. We have an inventory size of 3, and usually all the cards, or let's say the items, they have also these similar bubbles with these verbs, but with more special ability we can use any item in an option even if the verb is not matching the action we are taking. So that's our first card in our save slot. And the second one, when we play our very first game with a character, it doesn't matter if it's the first game you play ever, but first game with a given character. You can join in a game even if other players have played multiple games with their characters. You can use a brand new character, or you can even reset a character if you want, for any reason, if a new player comes in, and because there are some consequences, or let's say quite a lot, that the game will remember your actions. So if someone has played like 5 games with More and they are not, for any reason they have moved away, or some reason they can't join your game group anymore, and someone else wants to play with More, you probably in that case want to reset More's character back to these 2 cards, and there are some additional steps as well you have to take in order to reset the character, so another player's choices from previous games don't come back to haunt you. So the other card in your initial save slot is this card number 111, and it's the starting quest for each of the characters. So More's starting quest is Chasing Legends. You come to Galzyr to search for the hero of your favorite childhood stories. And what better way to start than from the very beginning? And during setup, we usually may pick any of these locations on the game board with cards. So we could start here, or in Meratu, in Arhin, or any other place. But this our initial quest says that we have to place our figure on this card during setup. And also, usually you can abandon any quests. You can have up to 3 of them, but for our initial quest, we are not able to abandon it. Then on the bottom, we have what we call scenes, again with this similar red bubble with the book and a number and a name of the scene. So these are the scenes that we take from the storybook. It also has a red background and this lightning bolt, which indicates that it's a mandatory scene. There are regular scenes, which usually have a brown outline and no lightning bolt icon. And then we have these more rare mandatory scenes that if we have one of these, we must take it on our turn. We don't have an option to take anything else. So those are the 2 cards we have. One quest card and one adventure status card, which is this fox symbol here. And we can have any amount of adventure statuses. We can have 3 quests. We can have 3 items in our inventory, And we might also get some other cards like companions, any amount of those. There's no limitations. Just the limits are for items and for quests. So I'll place my character figure here. Each of the characters will have their own custom shaped meeple. So this is Moore's custom meeple. It's a prototype form as well, but you should get the idea. So we'll start here. And I think that's about everything we have to do during setup. Of course, if we were playing with multiple players, each of them would have their own set of cards and character board like this. And in that case, we would also randomize the starting player. But we're playing a solo game here today, so we don't need to worry about starting player. Then we can get to the rules, which are relatively light for the game, but there's still plenty of meaningful decisions and fun stories to be explored and had. We tried to make the basic rules quite simple, so you can get playing fast, but then the depth comes from the stories and the decisions you make during those. So each turn of a player is divided into two parts. The first part is the travel phase, and then it's the story phase. During travel phase, we simply can move our character 2 spaces to an adjacent space. But in this case, we are not even on the game board, so we can't obviously do that. But let's have an example. If we were here, we might move here and here 2 steps. All these locations with multiple cards are considered to be a single space, so it doesn't matter where we place our figure in Rienstum, for example. Or if we were standing here, we might move 1 and 2 over here. And it's up to 2, so we can stay where we are as well if we want to. And then after we have completed our travel phase, it's the story phase, and in that one we should have a deck of cards which is an event deck. Something I didn't show yet, that should also be during the setup. This is stored in the global save slot. The story master, which is the person responsible for reading the storybook, that's always the player whose turn it was last turn. So not the player who's after you, unless you're of course playing with 2 players, but the person previously in turn order. If you're playing alone, you're of course going to have to read the stories by yourself. But at the start of the story phase, we first check if the active player has a mandatory scene available for them. If they do, they simply pick one of those mandatory scenes. Then if they do not have a mandatory scene, so let's imagine we were not having this card, then the story master would draw a top card from the event deck and look for the condition on the top of the event card. So in this case it says Arhin. Is the adventurer in Arhin? Well, we're definitely not at Arhin. If the mandatory condition would be met, then the story master would inform the active player that you are forced to take a scene. So in this example, we would have to take the scene number 75. If we're still not forced to take a scene, not from our own stuff or from an event card, then the active player may pick their scene from available ones. So let's say that I would be here. I could pick any of the scenes in Rienstum. If I don't want to pick any scenes that are available for me from the location that I am, from a quest card that I may have or something like that, I may also ask the story master to take an event for me. And an event is also a scene, and usually when you're traveling from place to place between locations, you're forced to take an event because you don't have a location to visit, or maybe you possibly don't have any quest to complete as neither. And in this case, the story master would simply look at your terrain type. So here it's grasslands, and then they would go here and look for the matching terrain type. So in this case, they would take the, well, it's the plane here, it would take the scene number 53. There's also scenes for settlements. So if you're in Rienstum and there's 3 terrain types actually here, settlement, pier and grasslands, and from those 3 the settlement would override the plains over here because it's higher on the list. So there are quite a few ways to choose which scene you're going to take, but in this our first turn we're here on our quest card and we're forced to take the scene 85 here. So start your adventure, and for that we are just here going to find the scene number 85, and let's start reading what happens during our first turn. Finally, you've arrived. Your thrill quivers in excitement as you peer at the distant city standing atop a series of plateaus, its mighty walls and closed-off profile reminding you of a fortress. You can barely contain yourself, imagining the stories and experiences that await you after the journey what must have taken weeks by now. Not that you didn't enjoy it, or the various diversions you partook along the way. Regardless, you're here now at Sarevar, the birthplace of your hero. And then we have usually these options. So here we have a single option. You can also see it here bigger. So whenever you saw these bubbles, usually we have more than one, but this is a special exception where we have just a single one, but usually we have multiples. And whenever you see these bubbles, feel free to write in the chat what you might want to do, so we can play the game together. But in this first choice that we have, we just have no other options but to head into the city. On the way, you can't stop grinning, thinking about all the stories your grandma used to tell. Tales of White Fang's adventures were always the best. He was so brave, strong and cunning to boot. Now, years later, those stories were coming to life. Rumor has it that the mysterious legendary adventurer hasn't been seen in years, decades even. No one seems to know where he's gone or even what his real name is, but that's about to change, because you're resolved to follow in his footsteps and meet your idol in person. You even brought along your treasure, your prized possession that used to belong to White Fang himself. Here, after the story, we have some rules, and there are 2 types of rules. Ones are these in this what's the color, like blue, in these blue boxes, and we have also rules that are not in these blue boxes, not visible here, but we will soon discover those. So whenever we see blue rules like this, the story master will simply resolve whatever it asks them to do without reading the rules out loud. When there's rules without these blue backgrounds, then the story master will read them out loud, so the active player will hear exactly what's written. So now the story master will move our adventurer figure to Sarevar. So it's here. I laid it down so you can see the adventurer a bit better. So we arrived to Sarevar. Then we are asked to give the adventurer a random card number 100. So let's take all cards with that number. There's quite a pile of them, so we'll shuffle all those together and take one. And return the rest back. So what we got was a survival kit, and it has some tags. We'll get to those later. First aid and container. Essential set of equipment for wilderness, whether it being navigating unknown landscapes or patching injuries after hardships. It has an effect here that we may discard, meaning again returning to the library, our wounded status. Or we may return wounded status. If we get wounded, we can get rid of it by discarding this survival kit. It also has an effect here. Whenever we explore or climb, we may reroll up to 3 dice. we'll get back to those skill checks, and then you know better what that means. But for now, let's make some little bit more room here and place it here in our inventory slot number 1. If we were ever given a 4th item or even more, we just have to discard down to 3. But before doing so, we may use any immediate actions if they're available. So if, for example, we were wounded, but we didn't want to use this, then we get a 4th card, and then before discarding any of our 4 cards, we may use the discard ability here from the survival kit to get rid of the wounded adventure status, and then would still be able to keep all the 3 items left over. But for now, we got the survival kit, which is the prized possession that used to belong to White Fang himself. I guess the White Fang, he or she did never got wounded because they still had this left over. Quite a dude. So now we have done those, so we will continue forward. And now we have after the story we have multiple options, and you're free to write in the chat which one you would like us to pick. You can barely keep up with the trio of polecat cubs bouncing ahead restlessly as they guide you towards your destination. They saw you at the gate, and after hearing you enthusiastically explain your visit to the guards, were eager to show you to find White Fang's childhood home in the suburbs. It's amazing that these adventures could have had such humble beginnings. Perhaps that applies to you as well. We're here, one of the cubs exclaims, interrupting your daydreaming. The house is ordinary on the outside, but the inside looks like a museum filled with memorabilia of White Fang's many adventures. Standing there, surrounded by his legacy, you can't help but close your eyes briefly and immerse yourself in his story, which feels closer than ever before. Opening your eyes again, you see the cubs looking at you expectantly. Now, how should you proceed in this pilgrimage of yours? We have 2 options. The first one is investigate the memorabilia, and the second is recall stories of White Fang's adventures. And they both have the bubble after them, so these ones here. And those are called skill checks, and in those we always use one of these 6 skills available for us. They also have a difficulty rating, which varies from easy to medium all the way to hard, and there's also an unknown difficulty rating when we are not quite sure how hard it is what we are trying to do. Piet is already requesting us to recall some stories. Well, we can do that. So when we check for these skills, there's 6 of these skills in the game. They are in this circular fashion. I'll hide this so I can show a bit easier. So they are called thievery, might, survival, knowledge, communication, and perception. And we always have 4 of these skill marks on our possession. And whenever we would get a single one, we would have to remove one of these. So we are not going to level up in the game basically, but we can adjust what we are good at. So whenever you do a skill check, for example, if you try to recall, this will help us, and the adjacent skills will help us a little bit as well as you will soon see. So here Pete wanted us to recall stories of White Fang's adventures, and whenever we pick an option with a skill check, without revealing it immediately, we first roll for the skill check. And in this case, we always first take all the 5 basic skill dice, and these basic skill dice have a single side of all the different skills in the game. So it's 1 out of 6 to get a single success with these dice. So they're not particularly good at anything, but they have a single success for all the 6 skills. And then we may change up any of these dice for the skill, for this special skill dice that we have available for us based on what skill marks we have here. So in this example, we want to change one of these recall dice for us, or not recall, but knowledge. And then, as I said, the adjacent ones also help us. So in this example, we would also want to change up these 2 for the communication dice. So, and to explain a bit about these special dice, they always have, let's find the sides here. They have 2 sides with double successes for the primary skill that they are associated for. And then they have also 2 of the adjacent ones. So this knowledge skill dice has 2 sides with a single survival, 2 sides with a single communication, and 2 with a double knowledge. So they're good at what they are supposed to be, and then they're also twice as good as the basic ones for the adjacent skills. So this is our dice pool for the skill check. And Dirk says that you don't keep getting stronger, but you change specialization. Essentially, yes. You can also, if you want, you can just put all your skill marks on one side of the circle, in which case you're really good at those skills. But then if you have, sometimes you get only options from the other side, depending on what you're doing in the game. And then you're really weak at those. But then you can also try to complement that by your items. So it's really up to you if you want to be extremely good at one thing, or quite a jack of all trades at everything, but then not extremely good at nothing, basically. So it's up to you how you want to play the game and which kind of character you want to play. So you might want to try to resolve all your hardships by using physical force, in which case you might want to really get these might skill marks and maybe some weapons and things like that. Or on the other hand, you might want to use the exact opposite and try to talk yourself out of troubles, like Moore is quite good at from the start. So when you pick your character that you want to play, you mostly want to look what their special ability is, because you can change up these skill marks during the game, but your special ability is here to stay. There's also some other things that will change up based on which character you play. Some folks in the world might recognize you, or you might have some special abilities, like Morse also has two tags here, which are Boaster and Unfold, and the storybook might sometimes ask, do we have an Unfold tag? And if we do, we know that where you're playing more and you get to do some cool action because you're a free lizard, basically. But let's go back to the skill check that we were resolving. So we were trying to recall, and when we have chosen our dice, we will simply roll all of them, and then we have an option. If the skill check is not rushed, so neither of these are rushed, they will have a pointy skill check bubbles if they were rushed. In that case, we would not be able to use any of our items nor reroll at all. But in this case, we are not in a hurry, so we get a single reroll. Each skill check, if they're not a rushed one, you have a single reroll. And a reroll means that you have to take one dice totally away and then reroll everything. So it can be risky to take the reroll. In this case, we got a single success for the recalling, and as I said earlier, there are 3 difficulty ratings: easy, medium, and hard. And with easy, we would always want at least 1 success. With medium, we would always want 2, and with hard, we would like to get 3. There's almost always an even better option if we get even more than the minimum requirement, but in this case, we would like to get at least 2. So I would say that we want to get a bit greedy and reroll everything, even while it means that we are probably going to lose that, but I don't think 1 is enough for regarding our stories, because it's a medium skill check. If our items had a word, matching verb, in this case a recall, we would be able to use it, but our survival kit helps us to explore and climb, so it doesn't help us recalling, which makes quite a lot of sense. But let's try to reroll and get 2 successes. Well, we got quite a lot of communication, but we also got lucky and got 2 knowledge that we were after, so this should be good. And after rolling, only then we clicked open the option, and then we see the thresholds. In this case, there are only 2, but most often there's 3 or even more in some cases. So now we got we got 2 or more. The cubs listen closely as you recite them some of your favorite tales of Whitefang's many adventures, like the one where he saved an entire village from an erupting volcano. They show a particular interest in Rienstum, which many of the stories take place in. As you reminisce your hero's journey, your audience grows steadily as more and more visitors stop and listen to your tales. By the time you finish your story of Whitefang's finding the great treasure of Kothav, a veritable crowd has gathered. There are several eyes on you now, and you feel great being the center of attention. In fact, it makes the allure of shouting out your ambitions to the crowd nearly overwhelming. But there's something holding you back. Call it a fleeting tingle of humility in the presence of your idol's legacy. We have 2 options for us. We might either declare that we will find Whitefang, which is a medium communication check, shouldn't be too hard for us, or we can pay our respects and move on. Yep, we can't use any of our items in that skill check either, because it doesn't have a declare verb, and our special ability can be used when we try to convince or intimidate. So now we can either be quite calm and just pay our respects and move on, or we can take our chances and declare that we will find Whitefang. Do you have any suggestions on which of those 2 options you would like to pick for this time? Personally, I think we should try to declare. Yeah, Dirk is saying that we will find Whitefang. Whiteface? Whitefang, yeah. Piet is saying this is our specialty, so declare that we will find him, of course. Yep. So we are doing a communication skill check, so these are the dice that we get access to. So basically the same dice with our skill marks as last time. So these ones here, and we are trying to get again two successes, but with these dice it should be no problem at all. All right, so we're looking at three successes. Well, I actually got the wrong dice. I should have 2. Let's be fair and let's save those, but I will roll one of these again, and we should have 2 of these blue dice. My bad. But it should be fair like this. Now we lost that, but we got another one from here. So we're having 4 successes, and we could reroll, but it's highly unlikely for us to get any better results when compared to these. So I think we should definitely stick with 4 and look what that gets us. Well, it's actually getting us the best outcome here that there's available. An ambition years in the making. bellowed out with thunderous resolve. Your proud proclamation resonates with the crowd like it does in the supports. As soon as you're finished, they erupt in cheer. It takes a while for the crowd to release you, but you're eager to continue your adventure. As you're about to make your leave, you notice the cops running to you, carrying something. "We found this lying around earlier," one of them says, "and we want you to have it. Tell White Fang we said hi." Well, first we got 3 prestige, so well, the stream is not over, I just misclicked the wrong direction, so here we get 3 prestige. That's quite a nice start. Then we return quest number 111 to the library. Goes over there. And then it asks us to give us card number 121 and a random 200. Unfortunately, I can't take us the 121. That would be the next part of our quest, continuing where we left off with this one, but we haven't quite finished that content yet, so we have to leave that as a cliffhanger for now. You will have to explore that by yourself. But I'm going to take us one random 200, return the rest back to the library, and here's I'm misclicking all the time. So here's what we got. Some prototype artwork and fixes. So we got a monocle, which has an tags elegant and lens, and it doesn't have any store text either yet, but it will help us if we search or intimidate. This red explosion mark basically means a success no matter what we are doing. If we are searching or intimidating, we get a single success. And if we unlock something, we can reroll a single die. That's quite nice. So now we're a Frit Lizard with a monocle and a survival kit. There's nothing stopping us now. And then let's try to click the right direction. Then we go forward, and after everyone would have taken their turns, so in this example it was just us, we would move the day token here in the storybook to the next day, and we'll also do the same here on the game board. So the storybook will give us different stories based on the month that we are playing, which is shown here, and the day that we are also playing. So if you, for example, visit the market in Arhin, there might be some variation depending on when you're visiting there. But for now we are on our own, and we can explore Galzyr for a while. Usually these streams have lasted about 2 hours. It's about 7 to 8 rounds or similar to that. And I can't give you free access to everything here, because while we have written a ton of stuff already, most of the scenes are still work in progress and not quite in the shape that I want them to be before showing them. So I'm mostly going to pick which direction we go and which places we visit. But once we are in the storybook, in the scene, then we can make decisions on together. But now we are at Sarevar, and there's a metal factory, a market, a museum, and a city park there. And unfortunately, I think we can't quite visit any of those places. So I think now it's good time to introduce one last thing that I skipped during the setup, which is these quest cards. So in the global save slot, there are these event cards, global status cards, location cards, and then there are a bunch of quest cards. I just have a single one here to show you off, but there should be like 10 or more of these. They form the quest deck, and during setup we place that next to the game board and draw 2 cards from it. So we would have 3 quest cards face down, the other side has more information. But the backside, we are able to see 3 of them, and those 3 cards will form our notice board. That's the things that the folks in the Galzyr are asking for brave adventurers like us to do for help for various things. In this example, we have this quest, which they always have the location that you must be in to be able to pick the quest up, and then it has a description. So for this quest, we would have to move all the way to Arhin to be able to pick up this quest. And the story goes that I have come to Galzyr for a little vacation and would love me some company. Signed by Karimia. So there should be 3 of these available at all times. If someone picks one of them out, we will always draw the next one from the deck. So the top card of the quest deck and the 2 next to it are the notice board. So there's always quests available, and those are the main way for us to gain prestige. So while you may get prestige by visiting locations and from the random encounters or the events from the deck, you are mainly going to get prestige by resolving and completing quests. And I think we're going to cheat a little bit and at least start walking towards Arhin, and probably at some point just jump straight out there, because this is the quest that I want to show you during this stream. And while Moore is starting his first game in Sarevar, we are hoping to get closer to Arhin in a hurry. So, and for that let's one final component that I haven't shown that will come with the game is this travel guide, and it will give you hints on what kind of place this is and all the different locations. So it has, of course, information about the guide author, which is this duck named Okakoban, and you can read about that on yourself later. And then it has the map of Galzyr and descriptions of all the different locations on the game board. And I will read you the stuff about Sarevar over here. So here we go. Despite the common belief, Sarevar offers much more than its metal industry and military presence. The city has a long, in many ways glorious history and rich traditions that it strongly upholds, all put on display in the Ducal Museum. Visiting the expansive city park gives a taste of the citizens' strong sense of unity in the form of great number of fantastic outdoor events and performances held there. So with this you get a small idea of what kind of place Galzyr is and what you can probably expect when visiting the different locations. And well, before leaving Sarevar, we might want to actually take a peek at the market there. So I'll show up a close-up for you. So this is the left side of Sarevar, and let's visit the market. So number 8. Here's the scene number 8. Sarevar's market is mainly known for its lively trade in mounts and draft animals, but there's plenty of other stuff for sale as well. What would you like to browse for? So now you have options. We could search for riding animals, weapons and camping equipment, books and apparel, or miscellaneous gadgets. And do you have any wishes? Which of these 4 we would like to shop for? We have 10 gold in our possession, and our items are valued at 5 and 7. So the monocle is quite expensive, valuable if we choose to sell it at some point. Meaning that it would also be quite expensive to purchase. Dirk wants to go for miscellaneous gadgets, and that's the first suggestion we got. So let's go for that. You're feeling curious today and decide to take a look at the selection of uncommon goods and gadgets at the market. Well, now Pete's saying that riding animals would bring us to Arhin faster, but well, too late for that. We went for the gadgets for this time. But we can cheat a little bit and jump forward a few spaces during our travels, because usually we would have more of these quests, so we would have always quest also closer to us, instead of now we have just a single one on the opposite side of the board. So now we're asked to take 3 random 200 cards. Excuse me. I'll take 3, and we also get card number 201. And we may purchase any number of these cards by paying the item's value. We may also sell any of our items for half of their value rounded up. So 3 of these, and the rest I'll return. And let's hide that so I can more easily show you what we have available for us. The first option is a Firework, which costs 5, and it can help us if we sneak or fight, but it's a one-time use, so we would have to discard it, but we would get 3 successes, which is quite a lot, so it's extremely good, but we can only shoot it once. Then we have Glasses, which can help us search and convince. Not bad. They are both valued 5. And then the last we have available is Coffee, which may also one-time use. So we might discard to gain 2 successes, but instead of verbs, it actually has 2 of these skill categories. So it has even more uses than the Fireworks, but not quite as good, because it only gives 2, but even 2 is really nice. And finally, we also got this card number 201 available. It costs 4, and if we purchase assorted gear, then we immediately discard this card, so return it back to the library, and we may swap either a perception or a thievery skill mark. So if we want to adjust our skill marks, we could get one of these 2 by removing one of our other ones. Pete is saying that the Fireworks will complement nicely, so let's go ahead and purchase at least that one, and that leaves us with 6 money if we don't want to sell anything, and with 6 we could purchase something else, and in that case we would like to, of course, sell either of these, or we can pick the assorted gear, which would let us tweak our skill marks if we so wish. And of course, other option is to just not purchase any of these and leave us with 5 money, because there's also waste. It's also usually quite nice to have a little bit of money on your pocket, because some of the scenes might benefit from us having some gold in our possession. So if we don't get any more suggestions, I think we'll just going to save up the other 5 we have and purchase some Fireworks, which will, as said, put us down to 5. So we'll return these 200s back to the library as well. And that was the market at Sarvar. We'll go to Tuesday here and on the game board as well. And then, yeah, Piet is now saying that keep the money. Good call. Then we would probably want to start marching towards Arhin. So let's move 2 spaces here. I leave the terrain type visible, so because it can affect which event we will take. And on previous turn we would also always have to draw the top one, and see if the mandatory effect, mandatory trigger happens in the event deck, and if it does not, we will place it, and we don't resolve it, we just place it on the bottom so the event deck cycles through slowly. But for this demo, I'm going to skip that phase, as we don't have, first we don't want to spoil you too much, and we don't have many of those mandatory conditions quite completed yet. But for now we are here in hills, and we would have to take a scene event here because we don't have any quest cards or available scenes to us. So we'll take an event, and instead of drawing from here, I will consult my list of completed scenes and we'll take a scene from there. If you have watched our previous streams, there will be some same scenes played again, for again 2 reasons. I don't want to spoil too much, and we don't have too many of these scenes quite complete yet. We have finished a lot of them, but not proofread and written them out in a nice way. So I don't want to show you incomplete stuff. So in this example, we're going to get an where is it here? Scene number 65. As you traverse the relaxing hillside slopes with the gentle breezes and rolling greens, you notice next to the road an exhausted red panda lying next to a hole in the ground and waving a shovel in frustration. "I've been digging for hours," pants the red panda, introducing herself as Chaiwai. She leads your gaze down to the old rusty chest half buried at the bottom of the hole. "It's exactly where the treasure map said it would be, but I didn't expect it to be locked." Chaiwai rubs her whiskers nervously. "If you help me open it, I'll share what's inside with you. I just don't want my afternoon to gone to waste. Oh, and do be careful. The contents are probably fragile." We have 3 options. And a reminder for everyone new joining the stream: you're free whenever you see these bubbles like here, the three options. You can write in the chat on which of those options you would like us to take. So we can try to unlock the chest, which is a medium thievery skill check. We don't have too many of good skill marks. We have only 1 secondary skill mark, and none of our items help us in unlocking. Then we can try to invent another way to open the chest, which is also medium, but it's a knowledge skill check. So for that we have quite a better chances with our dice, but none of our items help with inventing either, or we can simply continue our journey. Pete is suggesting us to invent another way to open the chest, and I would tend to agree with that. And let's see, these should be the correct dice. Yep, so 2 blue and one green and 2 of the base skill dice. So let's try to invent another way other than unlocking. Well, that's quite a nice roll. We got 3 successes, and with medium 2 is the minimum required, so I think we should be quite happy with 3 and go with that. And it will give us the 2 to 3 option. A quick examination of the chest reveals that you might be able to bypass the lock. The wooden structure has weakened after being buried for quite some time, and after a bit of careful work with Chaiwai's shovel, you manage to pry the lid in half. "My treasure!" laughs Chaiwai, beaming with joy as she runs her hands over the relics and dusty gadgets within. She hands you one of the items. "You can have this as your thank you." She laughs before beginning to stuff the remaining objects into a sack. "Enjoy!" So we will get card number 43, and if it's unavailable, then we will get a random card 200 instead. But in this case, we do have card number 43 available, so we will get a rare artifact. Doesn't have it has a placeholder text, but it's again we have so many discard cards. If we try to convince someone, we can get 3 successes by giving the rare artifact to them, and also it has a value of 12. So usually if we try to sell it, we get at least half, so we would get 6 gold if we sell the rare artifact. That's the end of that scene. I'll move us to Wednesday, and then we have to make the decision on what to do with the rare artifact. I would like to keep it, but we all are already at three items, so we would have to get rid of either Survival Kit, Monocle, or the Firework. And the Survival Kit helps us exploring, climbing, Monocle with Search, Intimidate and Unlock, and finally the Firework with Sneak and Fight. And I would be hard pressed to throw away the Fireworks, because we just got it from the store. And as painful as it might be, I might get rid of the Survival Kit, even though it's the legendary item of White Fang. Maybe we will get as lucky as White Fang and we never get wounded, so we don't need it quite as much. So let's say goodbye to the Survival Kit for now. Maybe we will get it back someday. Piet is saying that a Monocle can go. Well, I can still change. Let's keep the our legendary item Survival Kit then, and throw away the Monocle. We don't want to look that bad with it. Maybe it doesn't suit our face. All right. So we're on our way to Arhin. So let's pretend that we were a bit closer, and we will just boost our all the way to Arhin, just so we can go ahead and see a little bit of these quests. So we would probably be able to get at least 1 quest card from the 3 available with in 2 turns, depending on where we are, because with 2 you can already move quite far from where you are, and we have only one, and so we'll cheat just a little bit and move all the way to Arhin. So it was the story was that I came to Galzyr for a little vacation and would love me some company. Signed by Karimia. Pete is saying that more can fly. Well, actually, Ausala can fly, and we will see that in tomorrow's stream. But maybe we learned some lessons from her. So when we gain a quest card, all the other cards in our possession, being them items, adventurer status cards, or anything companions, they are face up on the table, and they everyone can see them. And with quest cards, they are in your hand, or you can keep them on the table also if you want. But other players can only see the notice board side. But we can of course see the other side as well, and we are free to show the cards to other players if we show wish to do. Here's what the card has to say. So the quest is Karimia's vacation. That was pretty clear from the other side already. My first stop is at Hesembi. There's a famous theater which I would love to visit. Would you mind escorting me there? Alright, so he's going to visit the theater in Hesembi. So we'll take the card number 148 from the library. Let's do that right now. So here's card 148. So it's Karimia himself. Karimia is more at home in the busy streets than in the scary solitary trails in the wilderness. Affectionate to a fault, he's always eager to meet and befriend new folks. And while he is with us, we get 2 successes in all communication skill checks, and it also has timed effect. And after 3 days, we would have to read the scene number 47. So let's place him here. Find 2 matching timer tokens, and one goes 3 days forward. So 1, 2, 3 on Saturday, and the other here as a reminder that which time target happens once we reach that spot. Then the quest card also says that if we move farther away from Hesempi or lose Karimia for any reason, we must abandon this quest. And here's what happens when you abandon. You're always allowed to abandon a quest, or which one you have, just if you want to abandon, or if you have 4 or more, you are forced to abandon one. And this spot here in the quest card shows what happens when you abandon it. So in this case, we would have to place this on the notice board and return 148 to the library. So we would just place it back here, and we would return Karimia back to the library. And finally, it has a scene available for us if we are at Hesempi. And the scene is appropriately named as Arrived to Hesempi, and it's the scene number 48. I'll keep it, let's say, here face up, so we can see it, because there's no one we need to hide it from. So we got some company, and Karimia's wanting to go to Hesempi, and with the closest or the shortest route possible. So we would be forced to take this bottom route, or otherwise we would be going a longer route, because he wants to go to Hesempi as fast as possible. So we would be forced to move all the way from here to Hesempi to go to see the theater. And if we do not do that, the card here tells that we must abandon the quest and return Karimia back to the library. So that's what kind of quest we are having right now. And well, Arhin would have Market, Great Library and Docks available for us, but I think we don't want to get Karimia too upset, so we'll start to move towards Hesempi in hopes of completing this quest. Let's see, there's a scene number. Let's take event number 54. It's asking us if we have the 252 available in the library, and I will check. And yep, 252 is available. Walking through the woods, you hear a faint meow. After wandering for a while, you realize that the sound is coming from up high, from the treetops. Following the sound, you can find an orange cat resting by a tree. The meowing is still ongoing, even stronger than before, somewhere above you. The orange cat looks lazily at you under the brim of his hat with a questioning face. Kenji is at it again. He loves to climb, coming down on his own, not so much. I've tried to teach him to only climb as high as he has courage to come down, but you know kittens. The cat yawns and stretches himself, changing his resting position. I'll owe you one if you get him down for me. The mewing continues. Do we have a toy tag? So available tags what we have: first aid, container, gemstone, relic, explosive, distraction, boaster, unfold, exaggerate, venomous and adorable, but no toys available. So let's see our options. And again, you can write in the chat what we would like us to do. We have 3 options. We can climb the tree and rescue Kenji, which is medium survival check. We are okay at survival, because we can use both knowledge and might. Not extremely good, but we have some options here. We can convince Kenzie to come down, which is a hard convince check, but it's Karimia is actually giving us 2 successes for communication if we choose to do that. And the third option is leave the scene. Piet is saying that Fireworks will get the kitten down. It can help us sneak and fight, and it might just have the opposite effect in this case, where it just climbs higher up. We can bribe the kitten with the rare artifact by giving it to him, which gives us three successes. So I'm inclined to try to convince Kenzie to come down. Not only we have really good dice, but we also have Karimia here to help us lure the little kitten down. So let's try to convince the little kitten. And yep, these are the dice that we have available. And we can even use our Audacious Bluff if we want to. And in that case, we can use any of the items in our inventory, because it has convince verb here. So we can use any of our items, a single box. If they would have multiple boxes, we would use one of those. So if we wanted to use the Firework with Audacious Bluff, we would be able to do actually that if we want to scrap out of that little kitten. Let's first try just with our dice. We are sitting at 2, and we also have 2 from Karimia. So we have currently 4. We might want to try to reroll these, in which case we would have to remove 1 and roll all of those again if we were to be greedy. But 4 should be enough to convince him to come down. It only needs 3, but there's probably a higher success available above somewhere above 3. So what do you think? Should we reroll? Should we bluff the kitten with our Firework and fire it away, or should we give the rare artifact to get even more successes, or are we just happy with 4 as we are right now? There's quite a lot of options. Even the survival kit would have helped actually us to climb, because it has reroll 3 dice if we choose to climb, but we are right now convincing. We are even better at that. Pete is saying that 4 is okay. Let's not be too greedy and go just with 4. So, well, you were correct. It's actually the best outcome. It needs just 4 this time. First things first, you locate the cream-colored kitten on one of the highest branches. How can such a small creature be the source of such loud noise? You managed to get his attention, and with your social skills, there's no feat you couldn't convince a little kitten to do. From the bottommost branch, Kenzie jumps on the arms of the orange cat. Kenzie's purring almost as loudly as meowing earlier. He's more than confident in climbing trees than descending them. The orange cat hugs Kenzie before placing him down on the ground. I think I never introduced myself. Call me Eddie. We're more than glad to join your adventure. I'll hang around as long as Kenzie's needs are satisfied. Kenzie hands you something. Seems like you made a new friend. He seems truly impressed by you. Alright, we get card number 252. Which is here. It's another companion card. Well, Eddie and Kenzie are joining our journey. A feline duo, Eddie clearly being the more collected one, while Kenzie is mostly interested in having plain old fun. It gives us 2 successes in perception skill checks, and if we choose to climb, we will reroll up to 2 dice and delay this effect by 2. And the effect is simply that after 4 days we will discard and they will leave our side. So as long as we keep them happy by climbing, they will stick around longer. Let's make some room here. We are starting to have quite a lot of company. So let's appropriately take the ocelot markers. First one goes 4 days from now, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and the other goes here. And then it also asks us to get card number 31, and if it's unavailable, get the random 200. But I think, yep, card number 31 is available. So we got a gift from Kenzie. It's a charm, and some believe in luck and fortune. Some want to forge their own destiny. Confidence or lack thereof matters more than you might assume. If we sneak, force or climb, we would roll the 12-sided die, and if we got unlucky, we actually lose some successes. But if you get lucky, we can get single or even 2 successes with our charm. And that's the end of that scene. Going to Thursday here as well. And then we have again some tough choices on what we want to keep with us. I would definitely like to keep the charm. It has quite nice. It does help sneaking, forcing, and climbing. So if we are okay with not being that good at exploring, then we would finally get rid of this survival kit. Charm also already helps us climb if we do that. Piet is asking, should the first marker Sunday be removed as the quest is returned to the library? This is the timed effect for the first one, for the bat on the last Sunday. And if we were to return this quest, then we would remove Karimia, and we would of course remove then this squirrel token. But this final bat token does not get removed until the end of the game, which happens when this timer gets all the way. So Piet is accepting to get rid of the kit. So now we're having some fun items. That goes back there, and then I'll again cheat a little bit and jump all the way to Hesembi, so we can start resolving the quest. Still have time for just a few more rounds, and we'll call it a game after that, and we'll continue tomorrow with another character. Don't want to spoil too much, but should give you a pretty good idea what kind of game we're speaking, talking here. So you have examples of different scenes. So now let's go and get an example of another quest scene. We already had the first quest where we got our starting quest, which we should have the second part in our hand now, but we didn't want to spoil that, so we're doing this one instead. So we arrived at Hesembi, so we will take the scene number 48. We should take a left here to watch this theater, says Karimia, clearly excited about being in Hesembi. A few minutes later you meet a Quokka and Honeypatcher in front of the theater, both merchants from Sarevar. So just a typo there, are actually 2, we'll have to fix those later. They too would like to see the play, but inform you that it's been sold out and that they're not letting any more folks inside. It's an affront, I tell you, a disgrace, exclaims the Quokka.
I'm seriously considered making a formal complaint to ruling family. Just you wait. Karimia tries to calm the pair down, assuring them that you, his capable adventurer friend, can figure something out. Meanwhile, we three can talk about a couple of business dealings I wanted to propose you. Think of it as payment for the service my friend here is about to deliver. The two merchants look at each other, shrug and accept. Don't see the harm in it as long as we see that play, says the honey patcher. Alright, we have options. Would you like us to go talk with the ticket vendor or sneak past the queue and steal their tickets? We are not that good at thievery. We have one might skill mark next to it, and we have, unless we want to make some distractions with our firework, because the firework, if we discard it, we get 3 successes for sneaking. So we could use the firework as a distraction, and that would easily pass the skill check. So let's Pete is agreeing, so let's try sneaking this time. And our other items do not, well actually we have 2 items which help us sneaking. So charm over here also helps us sneaking when we roll, if we just get lucky. But we can first roll our usual dice and then see if what we want to do with our items. We can use items at any time during a skill check. So let's see what we got now. We are not using those, but we are using 1 might and some more of these base skill dice. So we are sneaking, so we get 1 adjacent skill die, the might one. And that's a whole bunch of nothing. Doesn't hurt to reroll everything. Taking one away and rerolling. That's still a whole bunch of nothing. And yep, it is. I agree that let's throw our firework and get some successes from that. So we will have to discard to gain 3 successes. So there goes that. And now we're sitting at 3, which should be enough. We can be a bit greedy with charm if we wanted to. Even if we fail, it will lose 1 success, and we would still be at 2. And if we succeed, we might get even more. So if you don't disagree, I would like to try our luck and trust in our luck by using the charm to probably, hopefully, get some more successes. It's only 1 in 3 to lose successes with that. So let's try our luck with charm as well. Well, that's an 11, and with charm, 11 gives us 2 successes more. So we are sitting at 5. It seems like we're master burglars. So we actually got 5 or more. A group of macaws is making noise in the line, each waving around a ticket as if they were fans. You only need 4 though. In mere seconds you snatch the tickets from the macaws one by one, each at the very moment none of them are paying attention. Or in this case they're paying attention to the fireworks. As far as they know, the tickets simply vanished. You however know that if any of them had had a glass eye, you could have stolen that too. Yep, we are quite master pickpocketers, it seems. So let's continue asking if do we have a price tag. Well, none of our cards or our character board has a price tag, so unfortunately no, we do not have. The four of you have great time. As you're exiting the theater, the two merchants keep praising Karimia for getting them in to see the show, and they'd like to do business with him as soon as he's done with his vacation. You see that Karimia enjoys the attention but is trying to look modest. He then bids the Quokka and Badger farewell and looks to you. What an excellent start for vacation. Are you ready for awaits us next, my friend? Well, excellent starting theater and fireworks. Couldn't be a better start to a vacation. Well, we get two prestige, so we're up to 5 already. And we're asked to return the quest 46 back to the library, and in this case we would have to also, well, we're not abandoning this quest, so we do not get rid of Karimia. We're only asked to return this back to the library, and card number 112 would be the second part of the quest. I think it's actually, yep, I do have it printed out. So here's card number 112. The new exhibition center, named appropriately Halls of Wonder, were opened recently. I must see them with my own eyes. Let us make Rienstum our next destination. Again, we would take Karimia from the library if we didn't have him already, and if we move this time further away from Rienstum, we would have to abandon this quest and return Karimia to library as well. And it has a scene, if we go to Rienstum, we can start the second part of this quest, and abandoning would place this on the notice board and return Karimia to the library as well. So that's the end of that scene. Just a little hint, or even maybe a little spoiler, the scene would have been longer if we weren't so extremely lucky and successful in stealing the tickets, so there might have some other longer parts available for us as well. But now it was we were quite fast to get all the tickets that we needed. Then we move on to the Friday. And now we are sitting at Hesembi. Our next destination with Karimia's vacation would be in Rienstum, so we would have to take our shortest path over there, which would be first here, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we would have to go through Teshune, the shortest path available for us to Rienstum if we're interested in still helping out Karimia with his vacation. But we're not going to play Karimia's vacation anymore in this stream. But I think we can maybe visit some other place still, and let's say that we again cheat just a little bit, and here we have a monster. A cat is coming to ruin everything. Seems like there's getting closer to a good spot to end the stream. But let's cheat and jump to Rienstum and do one more scene. Let's visit the casino, which is scene number 26. Because I don't think we yet visited too many locations on the game board, so you get another example of that. So here's 26. Well, here's the real Kenshi, if you want to see him more closely. And here's the casino where we entered. As you enter the acclaimed Rienstum casino, a Macau clerk in a bow tie greets you from behind a counter. He kindly informs you that one must change a modest sum of gold for playing chips to get inside.
So we have two options. We can either pay the entrance fee or leave the casino, and obviously we want to pay 3. So we are left with 2 gold, like that. And let's go inside. After handing a few gold pieces to the macaw, he takes down your name and hands you some playing chips. Making your way to the casino proper, you are assaulted by a nearly overwhelming cacophony of sights and sounds, even smells wafting from the nearby bar and its patrons. The luxurious hall is filled with animated folks betting their possessions on various games of fortune and the tantalizing riches they promise. We have 3 options available for us. We can join a table with card games, medium perception, in which Eddie and Kenji could help us quite a lot. They gave us 2 successes if we take a perception skill check. We have another option. We can join a table with dice games, or we can seek out a staff member. 3 juicy options for us. Our items don't help us in card games, but Eddie and Kenji do help quite a lot if we choose to play the card games. Pete is saying, play cards, please. Can't say no to that. So we have 3 basic skill dice and 2 communication skill dice available when we do perception skill checks. And we got a single success and 2 here from Eddie and Kenji. So that would be up to 3. I might want to be greedy and reroll to possibly get even more. What do you say? Should we be happy with 3 or try to get more? Kenji is literally helping us, or at least distracting. Hopefully he's distracting the competition as well. I'm tempted to get a little bit greedy. If nothing else, Eddie and Kenji will play for us and get the 2 minimum required. So let's try our luck and be a little bit greedy. Well, that's two more. So this time it possibly was a good idea. So now we're opening the option and we got 4. And here we have an example of sometimes the storybook has also some skills that we were not actually checking. So here it's asking us if we got thievery, and we did actually get 1 over here. So we'll go with that option instead, because we go from left to right, the first one that matches our roll. Eddie Kenji is fooling around. After playing a couple of rounds, you notice that the player next to you, a toad in fancy clothing, is keeping her stacks of chips quite close to you. She seems to be very focused on the game and probably wouldn't notice if you took a couple for yourself. We have 2 options. We can either steal the chips, which is easy, thievery. Again, we are not too good at that. Or we can concentrate on the card game. Yeah, Pete is saying that well done, there's a
a lag in communication. I will set up the YouTube's delay to the minimum, so it was around 5 seconds to begin with, but it might have gotten longer as the stream goes by. I'm not quite sure, but it seems like it might have gotten a bit worse. But should be okay, as this is our last scene for today. We'll continue tomorrow with a new fresh stream. But now for probably the last choice of, do we want to steal the chips from the toad in fancy clothing, or concentrate on the card game we have already started. None of our items help with us here. We're not sneaking, forcing, climbing, convincing, intimidating. Yeah, Pete is saying that get some easy chips. Why not? These do not help us, but rather we get one of our might dice and these. And we are rolling for thievery, so it's 2 should be more than happy. I don't think we can have a good chance of getting more than 2 with these dice. So let's go with those. So between 1 and 3. Grabbing a few chips is as easy as ever, and you exit the table with a smug look on your face. As you're walking towards the counter to cash in your winnings, a familiar voice speaks to you. "I'm impressed, you've got talent," says the toad you just robbed. "I'd say you're more than qualified for a job I have. You can keep the change as a prepayment for your services. The name's Ariana. What do you know about stage magic?" Well, we weren't quite as handy as we thought, but we still got money. So we were had 2, so we're going all the way back to 10. And we would get card number 264, and if it's unavailable, we would get random 49. It would be a quest from the toad. I haven't printed that card out yet, but we would get some quest that the toad is asking us to do. And with that, I think it's an excellent place to finish up the stream. Something, one rule I still want to cover that I didn't explain yet is this handshaking symbol. For example, here in the arena, some scenes have that, and whenever they do have it, if there's another adventurer on the same space as you are, they may assist you in the scene if you both ask them and they agree to help. And whenever that happens during the scene, the partner can give you the access to all their items, their skill marks, their partners, and everything else that they have on their possession. So you're basically doing joining up together for the single scene. Well, Kenzie is now ruining everything, but I guess it's okay. So that's one of the main ways to interact with other players when you're playing either cooperative or competitively. You can team up during certain scenes to help each other out, and the partner is usually rewarded similarly to the active player. So if the active player would gain prestige, the partner would get prestige as well. That should give you quite good idea of what kind of game Lands of Galzyr is. And as said during the beginning of the stream, it's going to we are going to kickstart it next summer, and I hope you look forward to the kickstartering that next year. And I will also stream one final final stream of Galzyr next Sunday, so tomorrow, and that will be around 2 hours from what the time is now. So it will start 4 hours later than this stream today. So people from different time zones can join that stream. And as said, we are going to play as AwSHUX, the River Kingfisher, in that stream. It will feature some of the same scenes that we have already seen today and on other days, but there's also going to be some new scenes that we haven't seen yet. I hope you have a great weekend and enjoy all the other stuff that AwSHUX has to offer. We also demo Tale of Merchants 3 over Tabletop Simulator. If you want to play that, I have volunteers and I'm also joining some games myself. So feel free to ping me on Discord on either AwSHUX server or our Snowdale Society server. Both should reach out to me just fine. Well, I again thank you for joining the stream with me, and hope to see you next time as well. Thanks and bye. If I can just find my mouse to get the final scene here.